What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Gouache Universe podcast. This is the X-Men 97 review, episode 5. I got my special guest, of course, my main man, Teddy. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on? Happy Monday. I'm doing well, and you?
I don't know. Have you recovered from last week's? I wanted to spread this review out. So have you recovered from last week's trauma?
I took a good amount of cold showers. I was literally pacing around my house. I wish my wife had a video of me. I literally am not lying. I was pacing around like a crazy cat. I was soaking in everything that transpired, and I couldn't believe what happened.
Okay, yeah, you and me both, man. I
Yeah.
had goosebumps the whole time, but I'm back to normal now. But
Hmm.
so anyway, let's just jump right in, man. Let's just start. So first, before we dig in deep to this, do a deep dive into this episode, just give your overall take, of what did you think overall of this episode 5? And then we'll get deeper into it, later. But what was your overall takeaway from this episode?
I would probably say, arguably, this is probably the best episode so far to me. I think it was a great like story building opportunity for different characters, and you kind of got to see a little bit of how things kind of turned out in the previous episodes with like the relationship with Jean and Scott, Madeline Pryor and Scott, um and then with Magneto and Rogue. So there was some good like storylines being covered, and you got that pacing throughout the episode. And we're gonna probably go into more detail, obviously, but like seeing characters that we haven't seen since the 90s
Yeah.
being thrown in there, and then it was just a bunch of things happening constantly, and we were being engaged. And then obviously just like it went up in terms of like intensity and tension building, I should say.
Right, right.
And oh my god moments,
Mhm.
so it was a great episode.
For me, I'm gonna just come out and say it. I think if this show continues on the trajectory that it's on right now, I don't want to call it too soon, but if it continues on this trajectory, I'm talking about as far as like story, plot, animation, character relationships, the soap operas, the dramas, the actions. If it continues on this trajectory for, I would say, we're only five episodes in, but I would say give it like two, three, maybe four, maybe I would say three more seasons with this strong writing and strong dialogue. I would say, dare I say, this might actually overthrow the original. And for me, wait, before you throw me under the bus, before you throw me under the bus, the original is top of the line. So that's saying a lot. With this season has done so far, and just these first 5 episodes, it just totally captures the essence of what you and I love about X-Men.
Hmm.
And this episode was just like it really had everything that we love about X-Men. It had the drama, it had the soap operas, the relationships, the dysfunctional family. That's one thing. I guess my takeaway from this episode is, as far as my overall opinion, it really stressed the family aspect of the X-Men.
Hmm.
I've always said that the Avengers are more like uh co-workers. If you remember that scene in, what was it, Thor Ragnarok, I think it was, and Thor was like, "Hey, that's the Hulk. That's my coworker from work."
Yeah.
That kind of
Right,
thought
right.
process is what I always carried away from those Avengers films and just the Avengers team as a whole. Then don't get me wrong, I love the Avengers and everything, but they seem like more coworkers. Where here, the X-Men, and I think in this episode in particular, it really showed you that dysfunctional family aspect of the X-Men that we all relate to so much.
Mm.
And in that dysfunction, you see that they still love each other and they always come to each other's aid at the end of the day. They might have their squabbles, they might have their, you know, bickering and bantering and everything, but at the end of the day, they are family and they come and they stick together. And I thought that this episode totally, just and captured all of that aspect of the X-Men. So yeah, man, this X-Men, this episode just blew me away, man. I was just totally floored by this whole episode, man, just from beginning to end. So so yeah, so let's just start from the beginning. See, I wrote some notes down here. So what was your thoughts on the island nation of Genosha? How did you feel about, how they portrayed it? I loved it. I want to move there tonight, tomorrow. Well,
Right.
pre massacre. I would have liked to live there. I don't know, maybe there. What is it, Wakanda or Genosha? What you say? What you say?
Yeah, no, definitely it had the vibes of Wakanda mixed in with like Avatar, the animated series.
Mhm.
A little bit of that kind of vibe of you obviously we got to see characters that we haven't seen in a while, from like Multiple Man to Pixie to Dazzler to I mean we can keep going on and on in terms of people that came through, but obviously Nightcrawler coming through is like we're like, hell yeah, finally we got to see our boy,
Yeah.
and the animation style was fantastic, and him like teleporting with like the sound, with the voice acting and everything was just on par, and it was excellent.
Mhm.
uh, but also on top of that, like seeing how everybody's kind of having a great time, and you could tell it's just a different change of scenery from how we know Genosha from the previous glance we had back in the 90s. But and then the references that Gambit had of like, oh, why is everybody worshiping Magneto, and what's up with these prices of like these apples, and it,
No, $10 for an apple. I was like, come on, man, what's up with that?
that's inflation right there in the X-Men world. uh
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. And then, the fact that you got to see other mutants come together, even like villains like the Hellfire Club,
Hmm.
Magneto being able to bring people together in Genosha, even though there are differences in terms of like the perspective on life. But it was super cool to see Genosha the way it was, and seeing kind of like different alliances happening and
Right, right.
coming together. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think the writer, I think he's pulling also from current comics. Of course, you and I we read comics and everything, so we know about what's going on with the whole Krakoan era and the Krakoan age thing. And I thought he was kind of giving a nod to the Quiet Council uh of the Krakoan age and everything. Having Emma on the council and all the various mutants and things on the Hellfire Club on there. But man, Genosha, man, wow, man, I loved it. I just love the way they portrayed it. I love the way, they just showed, the mutants, they can just be as a place where they can come and be free. They're dancing in the streets, they're using their powers, they're having fun. We got a little glimpse of Dazzler there. And
Mhm.
for the one woman with the dreads, I thought that was Cecilia Reyes for a minute, but I don't know. I read somewhere that it wasn't. It could have been what did I forget the character's name. Is it not Tria? Cipher? There's a female character named Cipher. There's two characters named Cipher in the X-Men comics. And this is kind of a deep cut, but I read somewhere that this is that's that character. So, even I kind of slipped some characters.
One other character that she kind of went through, like her power set, that was Exodus, right? I think.
That was Exodus, but the one who burst out of Exodus, like he went in between her, that was they say Cipher. So I don't know. I don't know. I gotta do some more research on that. But
Yeah. Oh,
but
we got to see Banshee and Myra.
And
Yeah.
I was looking at more like this. The camera was zooming in my face. What you more? What you talking about?
Yeah, we talk about.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I enjoyed everybody kind of collaborating, and then obviously having a little debate and
Mhm.
quarrels there, but I just love that they got brought in as well, and I enjoyed all
But
those characters.
you know what I noticed? One thing I wanted to bring up about the whole Genosha scene. You notice that the camera, well, the writers and the creators decided to focus on the children. You had Pixie, you had Glob, you had Leech, and you notice from the minute we got to Genosha, we followed the children all the way through it in different scenes. They would keep popping up in different scenes throughout, and I thought that was a clever, subtle kind of hint at the innocence of Genosha. And
Mm.
and you remember you saw them at the end too when you see that still innocence that has been kind of what's the word, corrupted, or
Correct.
it's like the loss of innocence. So I thought that was a clever little shot, just showing the children, because you always assimilate youth with innocence. And so I
Mm.
thought that that was kind of clever for the writers to do that, to have the children be in different vital scenes throughout the episodes. That was kind of like uh, kind of a, you kind of, your eyes and your emotions kind of travel with them, because when stuff hits the fan, the loss of innocence is gone for them and for us.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, where's this turning? Is this taking a turn for the worse? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, no, we definitely I felt like that was great writing because we got attached to the characters more
mhm,
because you got to see them in a joyful environment and like them, just being in a very positive, supportive bubble, in a safe manner. So,
mhm,
obviously everything built up and you got that baseline of, oh, we're in a cool world. Everybody's happy. Everybody doesn't have to worry about anything and being judged or
mhm.
somebody coming after them. And then yeah, and
And,
then
and everything goes.
yeah,
But
no,
so anyway, moving on. So the next, what did you think about we got to talk about the kiss heard around the world. Well, actually it was a couple of kisses. But the first one, let's talk about that Gene and Logan kiss. What did you Well, let me go first.
okay,
I was when I don't know if you see my reaction, but when because I filmed the reaction to my whole X-Men videos and everything. But when that happened, my mouth just dropped. I was like, whoa. I was like, man, did she just kiss him? I mean, you know what? I think that he handled it with class. That's a real man right there. He handled that with class, because he could have just been like, okay, this is my shot, and just did whatever, but he was just like, look, I know that, you're going through, Gene, you're going through some emotional stuff right now. Go talk to Cyclops and that's enough said, just move on. Because you know that he really loves her and everything. And I
yeah,
thought that was kind of cool that he kind of, he's because you got to think Wolverine has been around for hundreds, well, not hundreds, but like what, 140 years, 150 years, something like that, maybe even 200 years. So he's seen everything, done everything. So for him to have that, uh, I don't know, him to have that, what's the word I'm looking for?
vulnerable.
Pathos or weight in his character
Mm,
to say, hey, look, I've been in this situation before. Sometimes you get wrapped up in these emotions or whatever, and you just can't control yourself. Because Wolverine goes berserker barrage in many occasions. So
mm,
I think that's really good for him that he's been able to kind of, in this universe, been able to control his, you know, berserker rages and things like that. And I just thought that was growth for his character, that he was able to control his feelings for Jean enough to say, hey, look, I know you're going through something. Go talk to Cyclops and be done with it. So I thought he handled that really, really, really sharp and really, respectable. So
mm.
what did you think about that? But I liked it though. I liked it. I was like, man,
Yeah, no,
we've been waiting to see it. But anyway, but what did you think?
it definitely made things juicy, like spicy, or whatever you want to call it, as the slang would say. It's like they're throwing a lot of drama in here, and it was almost kind of well, let me go back for a second, because like the scenery, right? They're like, I guess, in a lake, and she's dividing it like Moses. It kind of reminded me of X-Men 3, United, the live action
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
movie. You
Mhm.
remember when she comes out of the lake or whatever and separates the lake so that eventually
Right.
so that the jet can get out and eventually come out of the lake, and then she kisses Scott and all that. But I thought it was a very cool moment for Logan. You got to see, like you were saying, he has the experience already, and it shows how much of an upclass quality gentleman he is for
Mhm.
him to kind of brush that off and be like, this is just a momentary lapse. You made a mistake. We're
Yeah.
not going to Scott. You know what I mean? You're in a moment of vulnerability, and we won't talk about this. Even though like the interaction they had leading up to that was like beautiful exchange, and like the sunset talking about that, and like him seeing her eyes, and like just it was beautiful.
Yeah.
The interaction they had up until that kiss. So it
Yeah.
was cool, you know?
And don't get me wrong, I like the kiss, but I really like that he kind of was able and he was in control of himself and say, hey, look, you know, if it was different, you know, different situations, I would go all in, but
It
I,
made me wonder though, like it kind of sprinkle a little bit of because we have two genes, obviously Matt and Pryor, but like if the real gene eventually maybe down the line kind of goes with Logan and then Madeline Pryor goes with Scott. But I mean, it'd be different
yeah,
and how
yeah,
go.
yeah. People have been saying that, well, why not just get with Madeline and let Cyclops have Jean? But
Everyone's winning. Exactly.
yeah, but it's kind of complicated, because I don't know, that's just complicated because it's kind of like they're the same person, but they're not. You know what I mean? They're like one is a clone, one is the real Jean. And Wolverine has always been attracted to the real Jean. The clone, I don't know. It's that's a good point. One can go one, one can go the other, but it's just complicated, man. It's out of this. With this is a problem that I guess we all would like to have, right?
Yeah, this is like straight out of Maury or Gary Springer.
I
Like
know, right? Yeah, yeah,
Dr. Phil needs to be brought in for this one.
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we like the kiss. We like the kiss. We like the growth. What did you think about Scott's mental collapse on camera? I was like, that was another like shocker. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, he's right though. But
Yeah.
still, I was like, for him to have that mental breakdown like that, he just lost his son and everything. So how did you feel about that? Did your jaw hit the ground like mine did, or
Yeah, no, I got caught off guard to be honest with you. I was like, where is he going with this? But then I started realizing, it's like him being like a human being. Like imagine us in a situation like being a superhero, like Superman or Batman or whatever, and you're saving the day all the time, and you're not getting much recognition from majority of the population. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna feel a little salty. I'm gonna feel some anger. I'm gonna feel this kind of feeling of not acknowledgement because we're putting ourselves out there and being the bigger man and trying to do the right thing and like it was cool to see that side of Scott because I don't think we really ever saw that before.
Mhm.
um
Well, we seen it in the comics. We definitely seen it in the comic. We haven't seen it in the show. So it's kind of like, for the normal audience, they're probably like, wow. But wait,
mhm.
if you know the comics, then he can get really, really dark. But we won't spoil it for somebody who may be trying to, read the comics or do some backlog reading or whatever. But yeah, man,
Right.
I was blown away because I wasn't expecting that. Like you said, I mean, we haven't seen this version of Cyclops in the animated universe.
Mhm.
So for him to say that, I didn't think that they were going to go there. But
Right.
this ain't network television. This is cable, so it's kind of like you can get away with doing and saying some things that you might not be able to get away with on television. And so I just thought that that was like right on point. And you know, Trish Tilby, that's the reporter. She was kind of pushing too. She was kind of like nudging him a little bit. He tried to move on when she asked him about, did he have a kid with Marvel Girl with Jean? And he tried to move on from it, but she kept digging, saying, well, we did some digging and we found such and such social security number, such and such,
Yeah,
birth date, names, giving out everything. And he was like, all right, man. So I think at that point it was just too much and he just snapped.
that's a real journalist right there for one. You can keep digging like that, make somebody kind of unveil some things
Yeah,
and
yeah.
complexities of people and characters. And I thought, you know,
Mhm,
be able to kind of unravel some deep layers of emotions that he had and been holding off. So, yeah,
mhm.
great.
What did you think about we got to talk about Madeline Pryor and her psychic affair with Scott. Um so I don't want to give the plot away. I'm not going to give the plot of this particular story that is kind of a callback from. But I would say if any of you guys out there would like to see the source material of different things of that they're pulling from in the X-Men, a good book to read is E for Extinction, and that's written by Grant Morrison. And his entire run, uh, I think they pull heavily from that run. And the whole scene when Madeline was having the psychic affair with Cyclops, I mean, I wouldn't call it affair, but they kind of hinted at it was, he was cheating basically with Madeline, psychically. And I thought that was a callback from the E for Extinction storyline where Emma Frost was the one who was having an affair with Cyclops, and Jean Grey came in, and I believe they pulled that line directly from the comics,
Mm.
where she says, what did she say? She says, how did she say it? I should
How
have wrote.
long has it been going on? I guess is what Gene.
No, it was a line that she said that they pulled directly from the comics. She says, "Oh yeah, don't tell me that you can explain." That was a line pulled directly from that scene in the Grant Morrison run where Jean Grey caught Emma Frost having the affair with Cyclops
Mm,
psychologically. And I thought that was really cool because when Madeline Pryor woke up back in the counselor, well, not woke up, but when she came out of the, the trance or whatever, or the psychic, link with Cyclops,
mm.
and Sebastian Shaw was like, Miss Pryor, are you okay? And she was like, I just drifted away. And Emma Frost was sitting on the side. She was like, drift indeed. I was like, that was the definite callback because
Okay,
she was
right.
the one who did it in, the Grant Morrison run. And I
Mm,
just thought that maybe she might do it here because maybe that she was probably looking at, I mean, well, we know that she was listening in the whole time. And maybe she was like,
huh.
maybe I can do this, at some point in the future, so I don't know. We might get that, Emma Frost Cyclops thing, but I don't know. I don't know. What did you think about that whole moment?
I honestly I had no idea like that storyline that you just explained. It makes more sense now, but for I initially I thought that she kind of had a little bit of awareness, like the psychic link going on, and her having that ability, being like kind of eavesdropping over their
Yeah.
psychic link and be like, oh, something's going on here. But no, it makes sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's crazy. It applies to real life too. Obviously if you have like an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend or whatever, and had bad breakup and you are trying to go through the motions of life and you can't stop thinking about that ex, and it's kind of like that situation. And I think it kind of relays into the scene where it's like they're trying to figure things out, but he can't stop thinking about her, and they have some rapport that they built over the years or whatever, however long, uh,
Mhm.
in a clone. Um, and then the fact that Gene recognized it, and us the viewers realized, oh, this is Madeline Pryor,
Right. Mhm.
interacting with him, and it's like, oh dang, this is
Mhm.
like I was saying earlier, it's like Jerry. That's smooth here. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dynamics of relationships, and besides all the action and the cool stuff, there's a lot of the interrelational
Right.
situations here and things that they have to kind of figure out at some point. So
Yeah, it's really complicated, man. I mean, it's kind of like you can't really fault Cyclops and you can't fault Jean Grey. It's kind of like, that's the mother of his child.
right.
So it's kind of like, and she was there for, he didn't know that that was a clone. As far as he knew, he was falling in love. I mean, he was having a baby with Jean. So I thought it was kind of hypocritical because didn't Jean just get finished kissing Logan? I'm like, wait a minute, man, come on now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she just got finished kissing Logan, and now you mad at him because he fell in love with somebody that he thought was you. So I
Right.
was like, all right. But I don't know. Did you want to say something about that or
Oh, no. I was just thinking about all the memes that came out afterwards, after this episode. Uh,
uh,
it's just like you can never be right as a man. Like I mean, that's just like it's a funny joke kind of thing. The boss lady can mess up
Mhm.
moments right before,
Yep.
and the guy kind of being blamed. It was just a meme kind of thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So let me see what else. Oh yeah. So what did you think about the Magneto and Rogue revelation? So they finally went into it. She finally revealed, how they met and everything. What did you think? I'll let you go first. What did you think about that? The
Yeah.
revelation.
Dang, we really got to see Magneto just man, he's a ladies' man. He was like
Right.
flirting,
Painting and stuff,
he
with the champagne, the shirt open and stuff.
oh my God, man. Like it was like ladies' man stuff right here.
Uh,
You just got to see how things kind of played out prior, and that was kind of one of the questions we had is like, how did all these things happen? Like, when did they start hook up or fall in love or whatever in the show? So, um, yeah, you just got to see. some of those dynamics leading up, and then the fact that he got her to fall into the position of representing Genosha, I guess,
Yeah.
being a leader, for the X-Men and kind of being in union with Magneto, and then they did. It looked like they smashed. I saw your reaction,
Did they?
watching. I was like, oh, that definitely happened.
Oh yeah, yeah. Come on now, because look, I'm thinking he might have been the one. In hindsight, I think he might have been her first because she never really smashed with Cody,
Yeah,
but she
yeah,
went in to kiss him, or he kissed her, and she put him in a coma. So she never actually, lost her virginity. So I'm thinking that Magneto was her first time,
right, right.
and she never forgot that time. So
Yeah,
she never forgot. So he put that thing down. But yeah, man. I don't know. I think that I'm glad that they kind of gave us some insight on when the time period that they actually got together, because of course all the fans were speculating on when did this happen, because I remember all throughout season 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 of the original X-Men, they never mentioned any type of hint that they had a relationship. And so it was good that they gave a callback to um a Rogue's Tale, that episode called A Rogue's Tale, where they did the origin of Rogue and how she came to be and how she, dreamed Miss Marvel's powers and everything, and how her mother uh and her, they were all running with the Brotherhood or whatever. And
mhm,
so it was smart that they put that time period when she met Magneto in that window. It made sense, because this was before she met the X-Men and actually before she met Charles Xavier. So I just think that that's a good time for them to actually show within the story. It makes sense that they will put that revelation in that time period. We even got a little Savage Land Rogue, that's been a meme, or been a actually it's a meme, but it's based off of an actual comic that Jim Lee drew way back in, what was it, the late 80s, early 90s, with Rogue in the Savage Land and Magneto, and Rogue was wearing the Savage Land outfit and everything. So
mhm. You
but
could,
they explained it nicely, how they explained how they met and everything. I thought they really did a good job, really kind of giving that exposition. And the main thing is, she mentioned how that he just decided to forget it ever happened, and they
mhm,
both decided to forget it ever happened, and that's why it wasn't mentioned throughout, the original shows, because they just decided to forget it ever happened. So now when I go back and watch those shows, it's like, man, they both know that they've been smashing each other, But
right.
anyway, what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
Oh, no, no. While you're chatting, I just remembered that scene with Rogue's. I think when she was stealing the power of Avalanche, like the one character, the rock earthquake kind of ability. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh, that's Avalanche. It was just like a brief moment there while they were kind of painting the picture of the Rogue story as well. So I was just mentioning that.
And well, so we going from, I tell you, it's like a soap opera. So we're going to go from one relationship to the next. What did you think about the Rogue and Gambit heartbreak? That whole scene about how she laid it out to Gambit.
Man, I felt bad for Gambit. Like, for one, you could just tell he was kind of just figuring things out on his own and being like, all right, well, I guess I'm in the friend zone where we don't have the relationship we have anymore. You showing your interest in Magneto, and I'm just the second string.
Mm,
Him kind of just sitting there with the fire and just throwing his cards in the and
yeah.
just like just nonchalant, showing like how much disconnected he is now, and
Mhm.
uh you could definitely tell he's pretty angry, and the kind of phase he's going through right now of just realizing the lady that he pretty much admires is falling for somebody else. So
Right, right, right. I think he handled it. This is another one. This is really another opportunity. I think they really showed his growth. Him and Wolverine. I think that they handled their situations like bosses. You
Mm.
know, Gambit, she was laying it out. He didn't get emotional. He didn't, he didn't start, you know, trying to beg. He, like you said, he was just like real cool, real calm. This is how it is sometimes. This is a perfect example of how men should handle things if any type of stress or trauma happens. Just calm down, count to 10.
Mm.
It's like you can't change things. You can't change the way she feels. She made her choice, just have to accept it. And he even said something to the fact that, um, what did he say? He said something. This is the card I've been dealt, or something to that effect.
Something
And
along those.
I just think he handled it really cool. And to be honest, and let's get this clear, he put her in the friend zone. He put her in the friend zone. He was like, right now, I guess we'll just be friends. And gave her a little kiss, got up,
Mm.
and walked off. I was like, that's how you do it, man. That's a real man right there. That's a man's man. That's how you handle it. Just get up, walk. Ain't nothing else to be said. Just hey, look. If that's how you feel,
Yeah.
just be friends. And he walked out.
Right.
But he was hurt though. I can tell he was definitely hurt. And that's not to say you're supposed to hold in your emotions and not be have feelings.
Mm.
But it's the way you handle those feelings. I thought that was great the way they stressed that and just that scene between him and with Rogue and with Wolverine and Jean. I just thought that was really they handled it like a boss, I thought.
Mm.
And I don't know if you picked up on this, but when he asked her, what's your final decision?" He had the Queen of Hearts in his hands,
Mm.
and it was in the camera's view. Then
Wow.
when she said, well, sometimes, you got to change. And, that's the reason I became an X-Man, this, that, and the other. So she was basically saying that she made her choice. And so at that scene, he threw the Queen of Hearts into the fire. And at that scene, I was like,
Wow.
goodness,
Good attention to detail. I did not catch that little minute part there with the
man.
X. Wow.
Yeah, man, that was kind of deep, man. But yeah, but anyway, yeah, I felt that, man. And then she gonna have the nerve to come to the party all dressed up, and then she gonna touch.
Oh God. Bruh.
But you
And
know
it,
what though? I
uh-huh.
really think even though she chose to be with him, I still think she was doing it for show because Magneto even said that it was a political move or whatever to show that okay, he's the fierce defender of mutant kind. She's
Mhm.
an X-Man. And so if you see look on her face, she had this reserved look like she was kind of not happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
then before she went in for the kiss, or before they went in for the kiss, because Magneto was getting real freaky. He was like
Yeah.
behind her and grabbing her hips
Yeah,
and all of
before
I was like,
yeah, but even, like, before that kiss literally happened, there was that build up, like, the music and
mhm,
the scenery, the, like, glitter and the dim of the lights and
mhm,
like, Ace of Base, was the song, Happy
yeah.
Nation is, like, trending right now, number 1, because of that episode, and it was, like, them dancing and just, like, up until that kiss, but yeah, leading sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I literally
Oh no, no.
just you could feel it, and, like, Gambit watching, everybody watching,
Mhm.
and that happens. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, but I don't think she wanted to do it. I think it's kind of hard to explain. I think she wanted to do it, but she was kind of reserved and she was doing pretty much doing it for show.
Mm,
When they did the whole kiss thing. And of course, she wanted to, I guess kiss Magneto again because she does have feelings for him. So I'm not going to take that
mm.
away from her or whatever. But once again, man, my main man Gambit, he saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got pissed. Just walk off. You no need to stay there, whatever. Just hang around or throw your cars at him enough and just walk off or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But you know, we got to get into the main event. But before we do, I'm going to take this quick break and come right back right after this. Because we got to really talk about this. We got to really we got to take a breath and then talk about this massacre and this everything that went down, everything. So I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So now we've had that moment to kind of, get our thoughts together. We got to talk about this massacre, man. We got to talk about this massacre. So, man, when it just came out of nowhere, man. First, I didn't know what was happening, but then I, as it was happening, I kind of had a call back to once again E for Extinction. I won't give it away. Read that book if you haven't read it, read it. It'll blow you away. So as it was happening, and I was kind of like, taken aback, but then I started to realize, oh, so this is where they're going with it. Um, but so it starts off, Madeline, she gets a shot to the head or whatever, a TK shot to the head or whatever. Jean Grey had one when she was talking to Cyclops. Then all of a sudden, Cable comes onto the scene. And when Cable comes onto the scene, you know something about to go down. And so sure enough, he came on. But you know what though? I didn't see it the first time, but during the fireworks, there was two explosions that happened. You caught it. Did you catch it?
Are you talking about the man above the clouds?
I didn't catch that either. You talking
Oh,
about the Watcher?
yeah.
I didn't catch that either. So the Watcher, he usually, I'm trying to think. Forgive me if I'm getting my what if scenarios wrong, but when the Watcher shows up, does that mean that something traumatic is about to happen? He usually shows up when something big is about to happen, right? Isn't that his whole thing? Or
Definitely something big or affecting the universe in some way, shape, or form.
okay,
Obviously he's observing and gathering data and making sure nothing goes off balance in terms of disrupting the universe in a way, or this world, and I guess in this particular case.
okay, yeah, because I totally missed that. As I was editing, and then I started seeing people. Did you catch the Watcher? I was like, oh wait. So I went back and I was like, yep,
Yeah.
that's definitely the Watcher. But anyway, so we get the Watcher, we get Cable, and I thought that was a really sweet moment between him and Madeline meeting and her realizing that that's her son, and then him acknowledging that that's his mother when he was slipping back through the time stream, and he was like, "I'm so sorry, mom," and then he slipped back, and then she was like, "Sorry for what?" And then she had the tear coming down her eyes and everything. I was like, "Oh man, that just got me right here, man," because it's kind of like that's kind of a culmination of not her story, but just the realization that he made it. She said it. He made it. You made it.
Right.
She recognized those eyes or whatever. A mother never forgets her son. She never forgets her baby or whatever. But so then the big explosion. I thought that was so well done. Just the explosion and just the gravitas of it, how it was kind of like coming in,
Yeah.
out, in, out. What did you think about that? What did you think?
Yeah, right before the explosion, though, like while you were explaining Cable showing up on the scene, I was anticipating because in the previous discussion we had, it's like one of the anticipated people I want to see is Cable. So when he showed up, you could sense this urgency and this tension. Like it's almost like Terminator, like John Connor, um, kind of moment where he knows something is about to happen, and it's a matter of when it's going to happen. So, him showing up and be like, "Hey, why is everybody out here?" and blah 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 and all this stuff, and he's like trying to warn people
Yeah,
to get out and stuff, and like my hair is literally raised up, and I was like,
I,
"Oh yeah, something about to happen, something about to pop off right now." I cannot wait, and it also felt like also that Justice League, live action moment with the Flash coming back from the future to warn Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck. And he's
oh
like, oh,
yeah,
warning him somehow. And it's a matter of seconds, but like you can feel something big is about to happen.
yeah. Mhm.
That led in, to the
Yeah,
explosion. And it's like, okay, now we're not playing. Something just happened. And
yeah,
we don't know yet until
yeah.
Jade.
I'm kind of uh you know how in the X-Men, is time travel plays a integral part in certain stories of the X-Men. So as I was watching it and all the explosions and the deaths and everything was going down, it was horrifying because first of all, let's just talk about the this wild Sentinel. I've never seen the Sentinels this scary outside of the comics in any X-Men media. Well, the Sentinels, they were pretty scary in what was that, the Bryan Singer Days of Future Past. That's only because they were too over OP. They were too overpowered. I mean, you couldn't even put a dent in them. And
Right.
that's one thing I didn't like about them. They were too powerful. But still, I've never seen the Sentinels, you know, more horrifying than I've seen in this episode. I was actually scared. I mean, because they were incinerating people. They were like, Banshee got it, Marrow, they were incinerated. Mutants were being, burnt alive. And um, I thought it was kind of cool that Valerie Cooper was there to witness everything because she's like a liaison,
Mm,
so to speak, to the X-Men and everything. And you can see in her eyes, it did a close-up of her eyes as she was seeing all the horror go down. Um, I thought that was a detail because I think in that moment she realized, oh my God, I'm a human, but I see what's happening to these mutants. And so in the future, she might have more empathy towards mutants. Did you get that? So I thought that
yeah,
that was kind of cool that, she had that. They did a close-up of her seeing the actual horror go down.
right, right. Yeah, no, I definitely felt that. Like, I didn't know what she was thinking, but my interpretation was, um, wow, I'm helpless right now.
Mhm,
I have no idea what's going on, but people are getting wrecked right now. Like,
mhm.
there's some unknown being that is destroying the city, and I'm seeing Magneto and other folks trying to help,
Right.
and kind of on the fly figure out how to save everybody and
Yeah.
defend themselves. Like,
Yeah.
so it's a lot to take in a matter of moments because
Yeah.
it just happened so fast.
Yeah. And I gotta say, man, Gambit, Mr. Gambit.
Oh,
Gambit he's the MVP. I think he's the MVP of this whole massacre, man. He is the MVP because the stuff that he was doing was just like I was
yeah.
about to jump out of my seat, man. But
Oh,
if you
I'm
saw the
I'm
reaction,
jump out right now, man.
he jumped, he was on the bike up in the air. I don't know, he did some move where he spent while he was in the air, pulled out his cars, threw his cars, took two of them out, blew their heads off, and then threw another one. I was like, oh my goodness. Is
Yeah,
Gambit doing what I think he's doing? Is Gambit doing what I think he's doing? He was the MVP. And then Rogue, I just thought that was cool that they were fighting together, and he was just doing a lot of cool stuff. And then when the Morlocks was trapped in the Bay Area and they kind of was giving up or whatever, and then Gambit came through with the Sentinel head and he was like spinning around doing all this stuff. I'm
right.
like, this is the Gambit that I know from the comics, the one that we've never gotten on screen. No slight to Taylor Kish. I mean, I enjoyed. He didn't do bad as Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I just think the plot and the story that they gave him was just awful. But this is the Gambit that I want to see on the big screen, and I just thought he was the MVP because he's the one that actually took out the Wild Sentinel. I mean, he's the one that actually defeated the whole thing, even when Magneto couldn't.
Right. I
So,
mean, I feel like kind of rewind for a second. Like, you got to give a little bit of some shout out to Magneto
oh,
though.
of course, of course, of course.
Like, I mean, he was handling his own. We already kind of got to see his power set a little bit
Mhm,
before we really got to see Gambit get his shine, right? But
mhm.
like him being able to protect everybody and manage the rescue, telling Nightcrawler to do
Right,
this,
right,
going after Morlock, saving them,
right.
and then doing what he can do with his magnetism and taking on the freaking. I don't know if it was Master Mold. Initially, I thought when Cable came in, I thought it was gonna be Nimrod or somebody like at first, and also like the fact that this Mega Sentinel was like three or four faces, like it could turn and sense things.
Yes, yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like Living Tribunal, like the comic book version where you got to see like the different faces of the Living Tribunal in
Mhm.
Marvel comics. So it showed like how OP and like the kind of material it had where it was not getting affected by any of the
Right.
blasts. I was like, what the heck, you
Yeah,
know?
because I mean, in theory, Magneto should have been able to like, rip it apart. But
Right.
I'm wondering, is it from the future? Is it something that the government obviously the government, or the humans created it, but
Mm.
is it from the future because it came down in that green explosion or whatever? And I
Yeah.
don't know, is it something some sentinels from Cable's time?
Right.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out sooner than later. But
Mm.
I was actually terrified, man. I mean, they were incinerating. I mean, this the blast that was coming out. It was more like kind of like that War of the Worlds type vibe. It was just like horrifying or whatever. But we had some hero moments. Nightcrawler came through and he got hurt a little bit, but he came through and saved Magneto and Rogue from the line of fire or whatever. I thought that was cool. Um,
Kalisto got taken out. I mean, we saw certain characters. Sebastian Shaw got taken out.
yeah, Madeline, she was the first. She was right there in front of the explosion. Madeline got taken out.
Yeah.
Callisto, Sebastian, well,
Banshee.
Marrow, of course, Marrow, Banshee,
Yep.
um, many more.
Just to remind you, I don't know if you ever see the anime Attack on Titan when the Titans showed up. I don't know if you ever seen that anime, but
I know of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I know of it. Yeah.
the intensity of the Sentinels showing up felt like that, where everybody just got massacred
Mm,
all within a matter of moments.
yeah.
Um, but like Magneto going to protect the Morlocks and Leech saying that Magneto is has said he's going to protect them forever. Like you felt that. Like even right now, I'm like feeling the goosebumps and the chill
Mhm.
of Leech looking up at Magneto, protecting him and everybody
Right.
while trying to figure out how to save, like Genosha pretty much. And
And I
oh,
don't know if you picked up on this, but he was protecting the Morlocks with
yep,
one hand,
yep,
and he was protecting Gambit and Rogue with the other. So that tells you how powerful Magneto is. For the fact that he can do that two
right.
things at once and hold the Sentinel, the Wild Sentinel off, and protect Gambit and Rogue. And that whole scene where he was like looking at Rogue, and they were looking at each other. Oh man, that just hit me. And then he said to Leech, "Don't be afraid." And
Mm,
that's a fallback to episode 2. You remember he made a promise to Leech in the Morlock's tunnel. He said, "You'll never be afraid again."
mm,
And when things started to pop off here, the first thing Magneto said was, "A promise was made." And I had to think about, oh, that's a reflection of what he said in episode 2 when he said
right,
to the Morlocks. So his first order was go Gambit Rogue, check on the Morlocks,
right.
clear a path, and make sure they're okay. So he was still trying to keep his word. So I've heard many people say, man, I hate that I'm rooting for Magneto. Well, it's kind of like, I mean, those are the best villains, the ones who believe what they're doing is right. So he's a perfect villain. So of course you can root for Magneto because what he's doing in his mind is right and is right to all of us also. So it's
Right.
like, no, don't be ashamed for rooting for Magneto because he's just fighting for his people and trying to protect his people. Every action that he makes is servicing him trying to protect his people. And I thought that that moment with him and Leech was just like fantastic, man. That just hit me right here.
Yeah, it also kind of gave me a little flashback. This is well writing, like everything from throwbacks to just how they went about it, painting a picture and giving everybody their shine, and kind of going into the situation of how do you deal with this situation.
Yeah.
But it definitely brought back the one scene in X-Men Last Stand with Professor X about to get wiped out by Phoenix, and
Mhm.
Logan opens the kitchen door
Yeah.
and he tells him, "Stop. I got this." And
Yeah.
realizing the big picture, and it is what it is,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
this time, and things will work themselves out at this point. And he accepted the fate. He defended everybody, and he made Leech feel a certain way before they got killed. So that
Yeah.
was, at the end of the day, I think that's a big message of not to die with fear, but like die with hope,
Right. Right. And he
and
died a hero. Well, he died a hero
powerful.
because you know what they say. If you don't see a body, we didn't actually see a body. So
Right.
I'm
But
just saying.
yeah, but that led in, to Rogue losing
Yeah.
her cool at that point, and she went bloodlust rage mode.
Hmm.
While Gambit just like realized what she's about to do, like just
Right. He
not.
saved her. He saved her. Mhm.
Yeah, he powered up that bike, man. He had to slow her down. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that bike alone was not enough. Like he had to charge that bike up just to
I
take her,
know. Hmm.
away a little bit.
And
Um,
what did you so I guess to kind of bring it on home or to kind of reel it in, we got to talk about that end scene where I think what did you think did you get from this? Did you think that Gambit well let me tell you what I got from it. I'm thinking that Gambit did a self-sac. He knew he was going to die.
mm,
So he ran into the Sentinel only hoping to get close enough because he knew if he touched it that he would be able to do that. So he threw himself in harm's way. So I don't think because some people are saying that it's a surprise for him that he got hit, but I think he knew he was going to get hit with the
Mm,
Sentinel, and that was a way for him to get in close so he can supercharge it to explode. And for me, I just thought that that was, as you saw my reaction, I was just like cheering at that part because um it's kind of a bookend for his character. Hopefully, it's not the end. Hopefully, with time travel, we can fix all this stuff. But it's kind of a bookend to something that Xavier said in the series finale of the original show, where when Xavier was on his deathbed and he was talking about Gambit, he was saying that the scoundrel who became a hero,
mm,
and he's really evolved from that being a loner and being an actual hero, a team player with the X-Men. And I think that this is kind of like a growth with his character because even he feels that he has a place now and he was able to sacrifice himself for his family and the
mm.
people that he loves. And I thought that this was a great leap out of your chair moment for Gambit, for action wise and internally wise, because it was a moment where he kind of like, okay, he self-sacrificed, he put his life on the line for all the people that he loved. And I just thought that moment was just so cool. So what did you think about him charging that super sentinel up and everything?
Yeah, no, he definitely I feel like, when you kind of reflect on the situation in the moment, he looks surprised, but I mean, if you get like jabbed in your gut, like, or blasted, right? You're gonna react a certain way, but I think you're on that point of he kind of knew what his fate was gonna be,
Mm,
charging at that Mega Sentinel.
mm,
Uh and him charging it up, it was like a kamikaze attack. It was like a take everybody with you. This is like last resort. And then his famous quote in line, man. I was looking forward to that. It's like the name is Gambit, mon ami.
remember it. Yeah.
Oh, brings back that feeling when he was in Savage Land and he went after, all the sinister goons and got taken out the first time around, but then he was
Yeah.
like, the name's Gambit, mon ami. Remember it. Oh,
Remember it. Yeah. Yeah.
charged up.
Actually,
He
no.
charged up mid, like he was in a lot of pain, obviously, but like charging up the rod all the way up the rest,
Mm,
for us as the viewers, how big this Sentinel
I
was.
know. Yeah.
We never saw him charge up anybody uh,
No.
on TV in the show at all to be able to blast that thing out of
No. Yeah.
orbit or what you want to call it. That was
Yeah, he
wow.
saved everybody. He saved because I mean it would have still been there, massacring, but he self-sacrificed and saved everybody on the island. Well, the people that were still alive, he saved them on the island and everything.
It felt like that Infinity War ending, kind of like near the end of the movie. You're just silent. You're just like
Yeah,
you're trying to piece together what you just witnessed.
yeah,
Like that's one of the main players right there. That's
yeah,
Gambit,
yeah.
and
And
then
with Roll crying at the end,
uh, those words she said, her crying and
mm,
saying, "I can't feel you." It just
mm.
slowly fades away. Oh my God.
And Lenora Zan's performance, just her
Ah,
crying, when I heard her crying, man, and it just went to
ah,
pitch black, I was just like,
bruh.
I didn't know
Yeah.
how to I didn't know how to respond after that. I was kind of, if you saw my reaction, I was kind of trying to keep it cool, but it was a frog in my throat, man. I hate to let people out there know that, but yeah, it was a frog in my throat, and I was
Oh,
kind
you're
of
not the only one, man. Trust me. A bunch of us dudes feeling that stuff, and then the end credits with that kind of slow music of the theme,
I know, right?
we going into the
Yeah, man.
digesting everything that just transpired, man. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Let's give it a round of applause, man. Episode well done, man. I don't Where do they go from here? I mean, I don't know. I mean, this was just like the mid-season finale because I think they're doing either 10 episodes or is it 13? 10? It's either one, but this is kind of like a mid-season finale. And then I've heard that it's going to get even crazier moving forward. So, man, I'm excited for what's to come, man. I don't know what they're going to do now. I mean, we got Bishop in there, we got Cable, we got two time travelers. Somebody need to get down and do something. Maybe let this stick for maybe 2 or 3 episodes more.
yeah,
And then maybe the season finale, maybe they can revisit this. Let the death set in, make it seem. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I mean, I don't know if Magneto is going to stay dead. I don't know if Gambit's going to stay dead. I just don't know.
yeah. And did you notice? The last part I'm gonna say is, did you notice before the extinction of like the civilians? Did you see the creator, the animated character, the creator of the show? This
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I saw him. Yeah,
See, I was like, initially, I was like, that's so and
Vogue de
so.
Mayo. Yeah,
And then later on, I found out, I was like, okay, Okay. And he definitely talked about this episode. Like he was kind of been silent ever
Mhm,
since the release, but like he talked about this episode briefly, and I was like, wow, this is
mhm.
a really powerful episode and well done. So
Yeah. Yeah,
um
Gambit even saved him. He saved him.
yep,
Because he was about to blow them away, but he saved them, so,
yeah.
But yeah, man, this was a wonderful episode, man. I'm glad we got the chance to talk about it. So out of 5 stars, what's your rating? I already know, but I can guess, but you know,
5 out of 5.
yep, 5 out of 5 for me too, man. So yeah, we got what? I think 6 more episodes to go. Six, yeah, maybe it's 5, 6 more episodes to go. So I'm looking forward to the weeks to come, to chop it up with you and review these episodes. Once again, this has been a great reaction, a great review of X-Men episode 97, X-Men X-Men 97 episode 5. I can't even talk. I'm still having goosebumps from last week, but this has been good having you on the show, man. Tell everybody, what you're up to and where they can find you on the interwebs.
Yeah, thanks again as always. You can just find me on Instagram at tbiz158. Until next time, thanks again. You Wash. Appreciate it.
And of course, it's good having you. And of course, until next time, you can find me on all the interwebs, just at Gwash Universe. And of course, I'm keep leaving this out. This is very important. This helps the channel. So be sure to like, subscribe, get those likes and subscribes up. I would really appreciate it. I love to chop it up about all things science fiction, fantasy, and geek or whatever. And I love having my guests on, like my man Teddy here. So yeah, there'll be things coming in the future. So be sure to like and subscribe. It'll really help out the channel. And until next time, I'll see you in the universe.